Hey there, yard miners. Matthew here. Got my coffee. Haven't made a video in a bit, so I figured I'd set some intentions for today and talk about something I'm developing in the book I'm writing about starting your own kind of backyard e-waste business. And I'm calling it yard mining, kind of working title. I kind of like it because it's kind of micro scrapping in a sense. So it's not necessarily an urban mining, but, yard mining. And I'm developing something called a B.R.A.W.L score. When we break down something, right? Let me grab something Here is a old DLP projector, right? Something that comes in that doesn't necessarily have a good resale value. I tend to set my resale value for larger objects like this. That's going to take a decent amount of packing material at $30 profit. So it needs to sell over $30 to justify the testing of it, taking the pictures for eBay, wrapping it up, mailing it out, and all that stuff. Even eBay's 20% they take after fees and everything. Anyways, so everything has a difficulty score when you're breaking it out, right? And I chose the word brawl because you really are fighting with it. Some things are harder than others. If you've ever broken down an iMac, you know what I'm talking about. So B.R.A.W.L essentially is an acronym that stands for benefit, return, availability, waste, and labor, right? So the B is the benefit, right? How much does it benefit the environment to get out the poisonous things that are in here, like some mercury in a bulb, lead, things like that. So the benefit essentially to the environment or your community. The R means return. What's your return on your investment, right? The investment of time and calories burnt fighting this to break it all down, right? The availability, the A, is how common are these items, right? So a laptop would be very much at the higher end of that, where something like medical equipment would be on the lower end of that. The W is for waste, and that is how much waste is left over after you've broken everything down, right? So your plastics, your things that don't have recycling value or are cost to your business. So we pay per pound all the plastic shells from TVs. We have to get rid of those. We don't have a plastic recycler because we don't do enough volume where we can fill up a semi truck. So that's all kind of waste costs. And then of course, labor cost. I do have employees that I've hired as we grow. I need, based on their hourly rate and how long it takes to break something down, is it even worth touching and breaking down, right? And as labor costs rise and as material costs fall, that can certainly fluctuate. That score can certainly fluctuate kind of with the economy and with the market costs for things. So it is a little bit fluid, but you should know your labor costs, what you pay hourly or salary or however you decide to pay your employees, and how much time are they spending in the day and what kind of material are they working on, and it should be, you want a higher score for that. So a really good score for labor would be a desktop computer. You should, with experience, be able to break down a desktop within 5 minutes. Nuts to bolts, everything should be good to go on that. So I don't have a B.R.A.W score for this yet. I'm still working out a lot of things with the new model. I haven't really figured out also the scoring algorithm. It's really a mathematical equation. So whatever I say on this video could potentially change once the book comes out and I've got that kind of stuff finalized. So I've pulled some laptops. The Chrome book, which don't have great resale value. My buyer doesn't give me a whole lot of money for them. A vintage Mac that doesn't have a whole lot of resale value. It's the square body. It is not the 17-inch. I think this is the 13-inch. This one doesn't have a battery. And then a laptop that is old, but it's not old enough to be quote unquote vintage, right? So this is a Core 2 Duo. Each laptop is going to have kind of its own difficulty to break down and its own kind of return on investment. There's not a whole lot in the Chromebook, right? So B.R.A.W.L scores are going to be very broad categorically for laptops, and then potentially as I get more granular and more data kind of comes in, then I can capture some of my email marketing and kind of private membership areas of the website. Can really get into Chromebooks based on size. So it's going to be very much a data-driven kind of value add for paying customers that really get into knowing the numbers in the business side. I hate destroying anything kind of Mac related because I know that there's a lot of fans out there of what they've built over the years, including myself. I'm a really big Mac fan. But we have tried to sell these in the past. They don't sell great. It's really not even worth the non 17 inchers are not worth the packing material and time that it takes to kind of pack things up, and they are heavy. So shipping is very expensive. So you're going to need 10 of them to make the buyer make it worth it for the buyer. And then these guys, I'm not a PC guy, never have been. I've been Mac since the beginning, but it's just not all that great. So anyways, enough justification of why I'm tearing it down. We're going to start off with this PC. And at first, I always kind of would rather, me personally, sell these units whole to my buyer. They sell for around $1.50 a pound. If we can, we leave the battery on because the price that we get for battery is less than what the price we get for the laptop complete. So why not leave the heavy lithium ion battery on there? This one just happens to not have a battery. So as far as the benefit of breaking this down for the environment, the B side of the B.R.A.W.L, there's not anything extraordinarily harmful to the environment that isn't in all other other items. So I kind of, as far as the environment goes, it's kind of a D. Honestly, I would kind of give it a D. The return on your investment, we do take off gold corner BGAs. Sometimes old laptops have really nice CPUs with fine gold kind of connectors, and those are really fun when I see those. So the return is not bad. I give it about a 3. On a scale of 1 through 5, is the loose kind of general scale of what I'm working with B.R.A.W.L right now. Availability 4.5. It is, we get laptops in every day. They're not all gems. Sometimes they're Chromebooks. Sometimes they're falling apart. But sometimes they're 10th generation i7s and they just need a new hard drive. So definitely I'm giving it a 4.5. Where a 5 would be wires. The B.R.A.W.L score of wires, would be, for the availability, would be a 5. And as far as waste goes, there is a lot of plastic on laptops. Also a screen. I don't resell the screens because I don't have a buyer. Now, if that would certainly change if you had a buyer that bought screens that were working, but I do not. So we've got the screen that is waste and all the plastic that is waste. So I'm scoring a D for the waste. And as far as labor goes, is my least favorite thing to break down. Maybe I can think of worse. I'm sure I can. There's some buggers. But laptops, that Shrek movie, like everyone, onions and parfait, like it's got a lot of layers. I can't remember. I haven't seen Shrek in years, but it reminds me of an onion, right? And not because it's got layers in a good way. It's got like complexity in a bad way, and it make you freaking cry, honestly. Like, I have cut myself so many times breaking down a laptop on whether I shatter something or just sharp edges. And again, please wear safety gloves when you're doing this. In fact, I almost forgot mine. So now that I'm suited up, I'm going to get the 1 million screws that they have, because again, it's a friggin' onion, a lot of layers, and I need the right tools, so this is going to be done. As you can see, got all the screws off. Some of the back, or some of the panels in the back, you kind of got to, oh, I guess this is a Wi-Fi card. We do save these, and you know, we save them up in a bin, and it all adds up. So we'll put that in there. We also have some RAM, which is pretty good prices right now. Anything under 4 gigabytes, we really just sell as scrap RAM. And 4 gigabytes and up, DDR3, DDR4, we really just sell in lots. And it does sell when it's in lots, but no one's buying individual sticks with shipping and everything like that. So I have all the screws, the visible screws, off. And it's still, and there were some on the back, one here and one here. And you can still see, even, oh, and I highly recommend getting a small flathead precision to work with it. It's just kind of an all-around great tool. But it's the layers, it's complex. It's just, you know, all the screws are out, but nothing's coming up easily. Did take the hard drive out. So I don't see any more screws, but yet it's not wanting to come up. So this is why I love me some laptops. Okay, so let's see if we can pull that. Okay, so now that we got that out, it helps a little bit. But you can see in there, we got a cord, and it looks like some screws that are hidden underneath the keyboard are kind of all holding it together, right? So I could do it neatly and, you know, precision wise, but time is money, right? And so, like I tell all my employees, we're not trying to save this. This screen is not being resold. The plastic's going in the trash. Just, you know, just break it if you can, right? So right now, this aluminum is really, really holding it. Like, even as I'm pulling as hard as I can, it's not giving much. So what I'm going to do is always look under that faceplate under here. And you can kind of see there's some screws here. So I'm going to take these off. 1, 2. Right, so, oh, there's 2 in here too. 2 in here too. Oh, 3 in here. Okay, so now we finally have some room, right? So we're not keeping anything. We could have just cut those, but they came off really easily. So there's some aluminum, and there are these gold plated ends here. So what I will do is, and I'm not trying to be a precision cut here. I sell gold pin ends by the pound, you know, as is. So I'm going to take all of those and I'll throw them in. Oh, that's my crystal oscillators. I'll throw them in my gold pin, which is over here. So they've still got some wire on them, but that's okay. People that refine gold-plated things will do whatever they want with them. There's not much. It's just not worth getting this little guy. You know, you can, you know, don't follow my lead if you really want it. There's some contact points there. I'll just kind of throw it in there. But this is trash to me, right? This one has a little bit more aluminum backing than usual. So I actually am going to put this in dirty aluminum. And I'm going to put this in weight or trash, right? Okay. So we've got the motherboard, we've got the heatsink, we've got additional RAM, and some other peripheral boards. So just quickly, oh look, and I love it. They go to star bits here. Yeah, and that's another thing, like with the complexity of breaking down, right? The labor. Macs, and I know this isn't a Mac, but got me thinking. Macintoshes, especially iMacs, they switch bits up on you, like all the time, like 3-4 different sizes just to break it down. Okay, so we've got the heatsink here, we've got some cleat copper. We have a buyer that buys aluminum copper mix. I'm gonna get a star bit for this that fits. Ooh, first guess worked. But if there is a good amount of clean copper, like this long line, I will try to simply pull it off first. so I can get number two copper cost prices for it instead of the copper aluminum mix. This is aluminum, so I'm going to stick that in clean aluminum. A little bit of the sticky stuff doesn't matter as long as it doesn't have a bunch of steel in it. And it looks like we've got a nice little peripheral bore here. That would probably be medium. Got some black tantalums. And then you do have this kind of bottom. Actually, you have this bottom aluminum. This sometimes can be tricky to pull apart. This one isn't that bad, but here. Basically, I just, you could do that with pliers, but it was pretty easy by hand. So this is aluminum, copper aluminum, because it still has that copper square in it. We do get a decent price for that. The thing that broke off is aluminum, clean aluminum. And then I will go, usually this is fans, right? Aluminum fins. Sorry, I don't know why I said fans. And my buyer buys it as sheet aluminum. Snips out here. So organized. So I'm going to go ahead, since that's a lower cost, just go ahead and plop it off. Put that in copper aluminum, and then I'll get number 2 for this. Even though it's got a little bit of the glue or whatever that paste is that puts it on there, it's still a good price on that. Okay, so back to the Phillips, and this, I just take whatever's readily available. So even little cards like this, it all adds up, guys. Pretty much anything I see, I will take off as far as the screws go, because the way that laptops work, it's just also layers. You just like start from the top and work your way down. I just don't even think about it. I'm like, oh, I wonder if this. I see a screw, it comes out. See a screw, it comes out. If it's a speaker and I know it's just a speaker, sometimes I won't take it out. But of course, it could be all connected, and the speaker could be holding down something that you can't take out until you take out the speaker, and that's the way onion layers work, right? So on this one, I don't see a great CPU. It's right here. So again, that's like, I usually wouldn't break these down. I'm just kind of showing. There is actually the CPU. Might have even pins on it, but I still don't go for these. If it's ceramic or it's got the really nice gold thread connectors, I'll take a flathead and scrape them off and collect them in a little bin, and it really does add up. So my truss. I see a bunch more, and these little wires that are like faint over here and connected. If you have 3 or 4 of them, like, it really is hard to take off the motherboard. They really do block coming off, but I do just try to force it. Okay. So, like I said earlier with waste, I don't know, that actually that is aluminum. Like this, is it? It's one of those things I can't really tell. It's got a 7 on it, but man, it really does feel like aluminum. So since it is dirty, I'm going to leave the fan on, leave the steel case for the hard drive, and leave the speakers on. And I'm going to get dirty aluminum prices. It's not great, but it's better than weight. What I call shred. Here's a good example of probably not worth going after the clean. It's really glued on there. So this, I'm just going to put in copper aluminum. We get a pretty good price on that. All right, so we're down to the the motherboard. The motherboards for laptops are different than your normal desktop motherboards. This CPU is not resellable. It does not have a heat sink on it on the top, but it does have pins. So I have a category that I sell in bulk that's pins with no heat sink. And you can kind of see my categories there. I'm just going to give you a quick glance because it's a mess over there right now, and I probably just messed up my whole alignment. Get that back here. Okay, so pin, CPU, no heatsink. You don't necessarily have to take off the black plastic. They'll still buy it as is. But I am going to we do need to take off the batteries. All right. So this little guy was kind of covered in electric tape and it's plugged in. You do want to take off those batteries. There's just been more and more fires I keep reading about in their industry. So we have an outside bin that's metal that has just like oil in it, like cooking oil. You know, that we kind of keep it in there. So yeah, that's it. And it's easy to kind of lift up a little bit to see if that gold color BGA, one of the corners pops up. In this case, it doesn't, but I just, you can take really anything. This precision flathead, it really comes in handy. So take that off. Does not affect the quality or the category of the motherboard, and goes in our pile. All this stuff basically we just throw in to one, or you know, these boards throw into one pile, and then my guys kind of sort it out. We do have their own categories for this, so those will go where they go. All right, so that is, and again, I'm talking and trying to think of things to say, and yeah, that took a little longer than I guess normal would be. But you can see it's not the easiest. Wire. All right, so do a little cleanup as we go. Now onto the Mac, and I hope this doesn't hurt any feelings, but oh well if it does. Oh. All right, so there is underneath the keyboard some screws. We'll get to that in a second. Macs have very precision-based bits. This one happens to be a Phillips. So I'll put my precision bit in, see if this works. This might be too precise, actually. Oh, it works. And knowing Mac, they'll change it up and go to star bit. Once we open the top up, or something weird. Even the MacBook Pros now like have their own like tri-star bit that you need. I had to actually buy a Mac repair kit for those bits. Okay, I don't know if there's anything under here as far as the feet go, so that came off nicely. RAM, oh look, star bits. Wouldn't you know it? And 1 gigabyte. It's definitely scrap. And I'm going to try to find the correct star bit. That is not it. It just drives me nuts that like they just switch it back. Like how are we? Well, it's because you know, all this is going to automation. I mean, machines are being made to be able to throw anything at a bit, and you upload the schematics of how it was designed and put together to this machine, and it knows exactly what bits it needs and does it automatically. But until that time, so look in the back. That's what I want. I don't understand why they switch. Yeah. Anyways, sound like an old man. Get off my lawning, but it is a pain in the ass. This one didn't come out all the way, and it's a bit stripped, so I'm going to force it. Again, we're not keeping. No, this isn't for parts and repair and fucking onions. All right, let's go ahead. Obviously, there's a magnet in there. Go ahead and force this up. See where these are. Some people like this Mylar stuff. People do keep it. I don't know if that's the silver one or if it's the one that's in here. But laptops are really messy as far as getting the Mylar out. They're not like the desktop keyboards that really come apart really nicely. We do end up, here keeping those, the desktop ones, but not the laptop ones. Okay, so getting my precision under there. It's still all kinds of sticking. I don't see any visible screws, but it's not wanting to come up easily. This is an aluminum body Mac, so I will be putting pretty much all of this into dirty aluminum. Just keep the trackpad on there, keep all this stuff. They'll buy it. Look, someone wrote price. under there. All right, dirty aluminum. Now this is really sharp. Actually, I kind of glad I'm wearing gloves, but you definitely don't want to get mixed up in that. So I'm gonna kind of just peel it up and take that out. Okay. Again. And that's plastic trash. Okay, so you see we got the motherboard under here, but nothing under here, which is really interesting. Usually I'm used to seeing it from the bottom. But all the screws are here. Hard drives under here. And it looks like these magnets are being held by these precision star bits. So I'm trying to get these out. Man. Goes from Starbit to Phillips, all over the place. Okay. Give that a try. I'm going to go ahead and make sure I've got the screen bolts off. Get that out there. And again, this is aluminum. So dirty aluminum is pretty broad category for me, at least for my buyer. It's like, as long as it's majority aluminum, you're good. And so I'm just going to give him that whole screen. It's dirty aluminum. All right. See if we can get this hard drive out. Or it's hard drive. Motherboard. Again, there's probably some screws left. Whatever. Just going to pop it. It does have a gold BGA, gold corner BGA that actually is halfway up. So popping that off, put it in the collection. And we've got these three. That looks like that was the CPU. It's got nice little... I mean, it's populated. These little flat packs here. It'll put that in the laptop motherboard. You can see that, you know, some of it didn't come off, and that's okay. Like, you know, again, I'm talking and going slow here, but time is money, and you've got to, you know, if your thing is micro scrapping, and you got all the time in the world, awesome. I mean, that's freaking great. That's just not my model. Like I wouldn't usually even go for this. If it doesn't just slide right out and is ready to go, do I really need it? You know, kind of thing. And like here's again another screw, but you know, video purposes, we'll grab it. Hard drives, I do want to get out. You know, I just definitely don't want that just going into the landfill. This is copper and aluminum, so bend it up a little bit, put it in the copper aluminum pile. I think the last we get like 175 for copper aluminum mix, so it's much better than weight. So that's why we kind of go through there. We got a new Starbit size, so we are now on our second Starbit size, and we also have some Phillips. Okay. Team Ryobi over here. Oh, man, it is like under here maybe. Let me go ahead and just peel this back because I need to see. Okay, yeah, this thing's sharp, like razor sharp. Safety third, y'all. Always remember. Okay. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and just try to take this out. I'm sick of trying to. I mean, we're not saving it. Sometimes if these old laptop hard drives have the pins all across, I'll go for the board, but I don't usually break down laptop. We basically, our buyer buys them and they shred them for us at no charge, and they're big, you know, the big boy companies that have all the certificates and all that stuff. So I know it's in good hands. Again, it's got the small card. I call all these Wi-Fi cards, even if they aren't technically Wi-Fi cards, but they go in the same case. And we've got this little bit of board left. It doesn't come up easily. I'm not going to worry about it, but it did come up pretty easily. It does have. I'm going to just break off this aluminum, but yeah, that'll go in the mix. Ribbon. Okay, so we really are just kind of left with that. It is dirty aluminum. It is mostly aluminum, so that's what I'm going to do. All right, so our last one here. We are going to my least. Nah, well, IMAX still are my least favorite, but these don't have crap in them, right? And I guess I'm just going to do this to show it to you. We only get $1 for these, right? $1 each for them. So, Chromebooks can be locked. They can have like this kind of corporate lock on them. They also really aren't updatable after a certain amount of age. Like Google just says, no, these are no more. You can't update them. They can't use Drive on them, all that stuff. So what I do with these is I try to see if they come off. I basically try to rip them. So it doesn't always work. Sometimes they are very sturdy. So in this case, it's not an easy rip. So I'm going to go ahead and get the screws. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. And by the time you see me again, it'll be done. All right, here we go. Bottoms off, down to the screen, and this measly motherboard. This is why we don't really break them down. But I wanted to, again, our intention today was to show you brawling with items. You can make your decision whether you want to fight with them or not. And every Chromebook is not exactly like this. There's a lot of variety in there as well. Some have bigger boards, but for the most part, you're dealing with very little material that is just better suited to put in a Gaylord box and pass it down the stream. This is interesting though, and I haven't seen this. I'm not quite sure what's underneath there. It looks like that may be their Wi-Fi card. It says something. But it's really hard to read, so I'm not going to worry about it. Since we're opening it up and being curious, I'm just going to see what was under there. There's nothing. There's 2 more screws there. Okay, so this is the size. Let me get this off. This is the size about 2 playing deck cards is all you're going to get from this. We have a Gaylord that we put motherboard, laptop motherboards. I don't know if the sorters, right, our buyers that sort through material, making sure it is what it is, are even going to register this as a as a laptop motherboard. It's going in there regardless, but you run the risk of it going, being kind of downgraded. But when you hand over the whole unit untouched, at least I'm getting $1 for it. So yeah, that's it. The rest is freaking, plastic, glass, and expense. So Chromebooks are low scoring. Within the laptop category, the way that I think I'm going to kind of manage it is that they're going to be just an overall score based on vintage laptops, Macs, every type you can think of, Chromebooks and everything, kind of an average score per se. Maybe not an average, is the wrong word, but median. But and then get granular, like I said, with kind of, I am doing a paid subscription. I do want to be able to make a living doing this. And part of that is inspiring others to join in and join membership and learn. And it takes time to put together the videos and the experience. And I still have a business that I have to take away from doing that. So I've actually hired a COO to run a lot of the day-to-day operations of the business, where I kind of, obviously can come in and, mess her up and get in her way. No, come in and advise where needed. But this is my goal for the next, next period of my life. I'm in my early 40s. This has been a blessing to me, the eWaste business. I started in my backyard with one server blade that I found at a yard sale. And I've quit my I had a website and marketing company that I basically don't work for anymore. I kept one client that I really enjoy working with, but other than that, I've let all that business go. I had employees for that, and I'm doing this full time. This is what I love to do, and I finally found something that kind of meets that good for you as far as your health. You're not sitting all the time. You're actively going to dumps and breaking down things, and there's this physical activity of lifting So it's good for you. It's good for your environment and your community. Like my direct city is benefiting from me doing this because it's not going into a dump truck getting crushed. It's actually getting broken down, sorted, and recycled, right? So it's good for me. It's good for the environment, and it brings me joy, and it's profitable. So that's the third thing. Like, good for me, good for my environment, and I can make a living at doing it. It really is a profitable business. You need to really mind your time and touch things as little as you can to keep profits up. But again, your bags aren't my bags. And what I mean by that is like your experience, your needs, your bills, your property size. If you're an apartment versus a farm, your bags are different, right? And so I'm going to be talking about my bags, but I'm also going to be showing how you can scale up and down in the business. So be on the lookout for more videos. I am going to really start, now that I have full-time help running the business, start scheduling a time where I'm producing at least one video a week. Let me know your thoughts, and I hope everyone learned something. Again, B.R.A.W.L score, and make sure you go forth and be profitable.